Hi friends, once again a warm welcome to my YouTube channel Future Midwife. Today I will be discussing about one of the obstetrical condition called gestational diabetes mellitus. Obviously, from the word itself you understood it is a condition of glucose intolerance. First time occurring during pregnancy, usually after 24th weeks of gestation. So without wasting time, let's start our today's section with the definition of gestational diabetes mellitus. Gestational diabetes is a carbohydrate intolerance of variable severity that starts or is first recognized during pregnancy, or the inability of the tissue to absorb glucose from the bloodstream during pregnancy due to a lack of the hormone insulin. We have two types of gestational diabetes mellitus, that is A1-GDM and A2-GDM. In case of A1-GDM, the glucose tolerance test will be abnormal, but fasting blood sugar and ppbs will be normal. In this condition, we can manage with a diet. So the next one will be A2-GDM. In this case, abnormal glucose tolerance test along with that fasting blood sugar and ppbs. This condition will not be resolved with the help of diet and exercise. In this condition, we need to take medications and insulin for controlling the condition. Here we'll discuss about the pathophysiology of gestational diabetes mellitus. The first one is pancreatic beta cell dysfunction caused by genetics, autoimmune disorder, chronic insulin resistance. With all those reasons, beta cells are not able to produce enough insulin during pregnancy. This will lead to glucose intolerance. The second one is insulin resistance due to placental secretion of anti-insulin hormones. We'll see how it happens. During pregnancy, placenta is the vital organ which take over the functions of nutrition. Through placenta, nutritional exchange takes place from mother to fetus. Also, during pregnancy, placenta produces hormone called human placental lactogen. This release into the bloodstream which inhibit the action of insulin receptors, which can lead to insulin resistance. In case of late pregnancy, maternal hepatic glucose production increased by 50 to 30% to meet the fetal demand. Apart from that, during pregnancy, prolactin, growth hormone and progesterone also inhibit the action of insulin, which lead to insulin resistance, and ultimately it increases the glucose level. With all those reasons, the mother develops gestational diabetes mellitus during pregnancy. Pregnant woman is having higher level of glucose in her blood. Through placenta, along with the nutrients, glucose enter into the fetal bloodstream, lead to fetal hyperglycemia. It will act on the fetal pancreas and the fetus need to pump more insulin. This will ultimately end to increased fetal growth and organ hypertrophy. Now we will discuss about the risk factors of GDM. These are older maternal age, family history of type 2 diabetes, obesity in the woman, poor obstetrical history, the presence of a birth defect in previous pregnancy, gestational diabetes in previous pregnancy, a previous delivery of a large baby, a wrong eating habit during pregnancy, previous stillbirth or spontaneous miscarriage, and a history of pregnancy-induced UTI and hypertension, etc. So these are the risk factors of GDM. Next, we will discuss about the symptoms of GDM. So these are increased thirst, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, blurred vision, increased urination, weight loss in spite of increased appetite, frequent infections including those of the bladder, vagina and skin. Here we reach the diagnostic aspect of gestational diabetes mellitus. We can diagnose this gestational diabetes mellitus with a few diagnostic tests. These are oral glucose challenge test, fasting blood sugar test, 2-hour postprandial blood sugar test, and finally oral glucose tolerance test. With all those tests, we can diagnose the gestational diabetes mellitus during pregnancy after 24th weeks of gestation. Here I will share the result of fasting and 2-hour postprandial blood sugar result during pregnancy. So in case of fasting, if the blood sugar level is less than 100 mg per dl or 2-hour postprandial blood sugar is less than 145 mg per dl, means it is considered as no diabetes mellitus during pregnancy. If the fasting glucose level is more than 125 mg per dl and postprandial will be more than 200 mg per dl, we consider the mother is diabetic mellitus during pregnancy. If the fasting blood sugar is between 100 to 125 mg per dl or the 2-hour postprandial blood sugar is between 125 to 200 mg per dl, it is considered as borderline diabetes mellitus, which need glucose tolerance test. Here I will explain how we can perform glucose challenge test. This test usually performed between 24 to 28 weeks of gestation. A 50 gram of glucose drink is given to the patient and blood is drawn after 1 hour to measure blood glucose level. The test result will be positive. The blood glucose level is more than 7.2 or more than 7.8 mmol per liter. Then the patient has to undergo the 3-hour 100 gram oral glucose tolerance test. In case of glucose tolerance test, we have to explain the procedure to the mother and we instruct a mother to take carbohydrate rich diet for the past 3 days of the test, and the previous day of test we instruct a mother to be fasting at least for 10 to 12 hours. On the day of the test, we instruct the mother to come at around 8 a.m. to the clinic. Then we collect the urine sample and the fasting blood sugar. This will consider as a zero sample. After that, we give around 75 to 100 gram of glucose solution to drink. Then we instruct the mother not to take any food until the test finished except water. After that, we collect blood sample as well as urine sample at a 30 minutes interval for up to 150 minutes. Later, we evaluate the range of blood glucose level and urine glucose level. Here I will explain about the range of glucose tolerance test. In case of normal glucose tolerance test, the fasting blood sugar will be 75, in 30 minutes 130, 60 minutes 150, in 90 minutes it will be 110, in 120 minutes it will be 90, and the 150 minutes the glucose range will be 70. In all the series of evaluation, the urine glucose test will be nil. Then in case of oral glucose test positive, this category can be divided into 2 ways, that is moderate diabetic curve and severe diabetic curve. In case of moderate diabetic curve, the blood glucose level in fasting will be 130, in 30 minutes 200, 60 minutes 280, 90 minutes 260, 120 minutes 220, and in 150 minutes it will be 170. In case of urinary glucose level, fasting will be negative. In 30 minutes it will be +2, 60 minutes also +2, and till 120 minutes it will be +2, and in 150 minutes it will be nil. Whereas in case of severe diabetic curve, the blood glucose level in fasting will be 230, 30 minutes 300, 60 minutes 345, 90 minutes 365, 120 minutes it will be 350, and the 150 minutes it will be 330. Urinary glucose test will be +2 in fasting and remaining all the time until 150 minutes it will be +3. Next we will discuss about the feto-maternal complications. These are macrosomia, cesarean delivery, preterm delivery, preeclampsia, respiratory distress symptom, congenital malformations, perinatal mortality, spontaneous abortion, 3rd trimester fetal death, polyhydramnios, preterm, birth, adverse neurodevelopmental outcomes, and risk for type 2 diabetes mellitus. Here I will discuss about the neonatal complications. These are morbidity associated with the preterm birth, macrosomia with birth injury, polycythemia and hyperviscosity, hyperbilirubinemia, cardiomyopathy, hypoglycemia and other metabolic abnormalities, respiratory problems and congenital anomalies. Here we reach the management aspect of gestational diabetes mellitus. First we will see antenatal care. All diabetic women are managed in a multidisciplinary combined obstetric and diabetes clinic with a specialist obstetrician, diabetologist, specialist midwife, pediatrician and dietitian. All women should receive dietary instruction with individual recommendation based on weight and height. Patients should receive nutrition counseling from a registered dietitian. Daily calories should be made up approximately 40% carbohydrate, 20% proteins and 40% fats. Apart from that, the mother has to instructed to do some sort of antenatal exercises. She can go for a walk at least 15 to 30 minutes. If she can perform, we instruct the mother to do swimming as well as some aerobic exercises. Also, it is very important to check the blood glucose level during the day. So, we advise the mother to check the glucose at least 3 times a day, that is before and after the meals. If the blood glucose level is not controlled by 2 weeks after this medication and exercise, it is best to take insulin. The insulin will be the first line of drug of choice in case of diabetes mellitus during pregnancy. If the gestation diabetes is not complicated with other risk factors like hypertension, shoulder dystocia, microsomia, the mother can continue the pregnancy till 40 weeks of gestation and normal delivery will be preferable. But in case of all those risk cases, it is best to prefer cesarean section. Here we can wind up our today's section. So I hope you all understood about the gestational diabetes mellitus. So the management during labor, immediate management of neonate and postpartum follow-up will be displayed on the slide. Please have a look on it. The next class we will meet with another episode of midwifery topic. Till that, take care. Bye bye.